Welcome to another episode of What Does the Law Say? Before we move on, please like, share, subscribe, and drop your comments. Thank you. There have been complaints recently about the police stopping and searching people, checking their phones, asking for their laptops, asking questions as what does Skype mean? Why do you have dollars on your phone? And all kinds of questions and different kinds of harassment. So today's episode will be about powers of the police to search. We would also be answering questions such as, do the police have the power to search? What rights are available to me if I am stopped and searched? How do I handle the situation if it ever arises? We would examine provisions of the Police Act, criminal procedural laws of states, and the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So should we define who the police are or who a police officer is in Nigeria? If I am to give my definition, I would say a police officer is a man or a woman who wears a black shirt, tucks into a black trousers, has a black beret, holds a gun on the road or anywhere where they are required to be. But that is not who a police officer is. All right, so quick fact. The full form of police is Public Officer for Legal Investigations and Criminal Emergencies. Did you know? I guess not. So now, right into today's discussion, we would define search and then go on to discuss about the powers of the police to search. So what does it mean to search a person? What does it mean for a police officer to conduct search? Search is defined as examining a person's body or looking out for anything that has been concealed. So you can search a person, you can search a premises, or you can search things. So what's the purpose to search? What's the purpose of searching a person? The purpose of search is to obtain evidence of the commission of crime. So for any reason, if there's a suspicion as to the commission of crime, you want to search to obtain such evidence. That is the purpose of search. So right into our question for today. Do the police have the power to search? The answer is yes. According to Section 29 of the Police Act, a police officer may detain and search any person whom he reasonably suspects of having in his possession or conveying in any manner anything which he has reason to believe to have been stolen or otherwise unlawfully obtained. So the police may stop and search you if they reasonably suspect that you have anything in your possession or you're conveying anything that may have been stolen or unlawfully obtained. So the only reason why a police officer should stop and search you is if he has any reasonable suspicion as to the fact that, you have something in your possession or you're conveying something that he thinks might be stolen or unlawfully obtained. Then he can stop and search you. So the Police Act puts him under the purview of he must reasonably suspect that you have anything in your possession or you're conveying anything, and he must have reason to believe that that thing you are conveying is either stolen or unlawfully obtained. If the police officer has no reasonable suspicion, then he has no right to stop and search you. He's not meant to stop and search you. However, if this is the situation, in the latter part of the episode, we will talk about how you should handle the situation. So let's continue. How do you conduct search? So search can either be done with a warrant or without a warrant. So there are instances where if search is to be carried out on a person or in the premises or within, warrant is definitely required. In some other instances, search warrant is not required. Also, the ACJ Section 5, Sub 2, the CPA Section 6, Sub 2 provide that whenever a person is to be searched, they should be searched by persons of the same sex and be searched decently. So a man should search a man and a woman should search a woman, and such search should be done decently with a sense of decency and persons of the same sex. So note that if you are in Lagos and a man stops you and wants to search you, that's unlawful. A man shouldn't search a woman in Lagos, and also as it provides in other states of the Federation. What are the rights available to you if a police officer should stop you and demand that you are searched? Number one right is that you have the right to remain silent. Section 35, Sub 2 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria provides that if any person arrested or detained shall have the right to remain silent or avoid answering any questions until after the consultation with their legal practitioner or any person of their own choice. So if they're asking you sensitive questions that you do not have any reason to answer them, then you do not have to, because you have a right that says that you can avoid answering your necessary questions until after consultation with your legal practitioner. So some weeks back, there was a viral video of a lady that was asked all kinds of questions, and she was treated in a very inhumane manner. And I bet that she probably didn't know that she had the right to remain silent. If she did not need to spill out all that detail. She didn't need to spill out all that personal detail at all. So note that your right under the Constitution, your fundamental right, is the right to remain silent. You can avoid any unnecessary questions until after consultation with your legal practitioner. There are questions that are not personal. You can ask, they can ask you some questions and you're able to answer them. Where do you work? What do you do? Those are still very generic questions. If they're asking questions that are too personal or uncomfortable for you, know that you have that right to remain silent until you've consulted with your legal practitioner. Your second right is the right to a legal counsel. You have the right to consult or speak to a legal counsel or a legal practitioner as regards any issue bothering that search or any other harassment at all. So you can state that right, that I have the right to remain silent and I have the right to a legal practitioner. So you do not go ahead and start answering questions that might be detrimental or harmful to you now or in the future. Section 37 of the 1999 Constitution provides that the privacy of citizens, their homes, correspondence, telephone conversations, and telegraphic communications is hereby guaranteed and protected. That is a fundamental right. Section 37 provides for that you have the right to privacy. You have the right to your correspondence and any other telecommunications. So it protects you in a way from being harassed as regards that, giving so much private details. You have a right to privacy. You have a right to your home. You have a fundamental right as regards telecommunications or any other communications. The Constitution provides that it's guaranteed and protected. So to avoid stories that touch, I know we're in Nigeria and there are different situations, different circumstances. That's why I'm here. I would ensure that I give you steps and tips in which, if at all you fall into this situation, how do you handle the situation? How do you handle it in the best way, in your best interest? Number one tip, identify the police officer. You want to be sure of who you're conversing with. So make sure that you identify the police officer, check out for his name, and identify the police officer. Number two tip, ensure you have a means of identification. If you're going anywhere, you're driving in your car, just because you know that you can be stopped or you can be asked questions, ensure that you have a means of identification. An ID card from school, an ID card from work, something to show that you're a citizen, you're a Nigerian, something to identify you. It cuts out unnecessary questions, takes out all that. Because most times they want to know, where do you work? What do you do? If you have an identification card, it sorts out all that story. You just flash and say, this is what I do. This is where I work. It solves that part. Number three tip, don't be on the defensive. Don't come like as if you want to, fight them, like you're trying to antagonize them. Some of them actually just want to ask questions. And if you have anything for the boys. But basically, don't be defensive. Don't come like as if you're coming to fight. As long as you know you've not done anything wrong. As long as you know that you're not on the wrong side of the law. They stop you. They want to ask you questions. Don't be on defensive. Be calm. Answer their questions. It doesn't take anything at all. And then move on from there. Number four tip, don't be afraid. I know, growing up to seeing a police officer with a gun, you're like, we don't know what he's going to do with it. But don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of the police officer. You want to be careful, but don't be afraid. So speak confidently. Make them know that you know what you are doing, that you know who you are, you're a responsible person. They might come at you like, trying to pressure you and ask you so many questions. Don't be afraid. Just answer their questions confidently. Answer their questions confidently. So if they want to search your phone or your laptop or any other personal item, you can ask, do you have a search warrant? Why do you want to search my phone? Ask me the questions you want to ask me. You don't have to search my phone. I'm of the opinion that your phone and your laptop is very personal to you. And if the Constitution provides that you have a right to privacy as regards correspondences, telecommunications, and the likes, that means you have that right to guard it. You have that right to guard your phone or guard your laptop. So if there's no just cause, there's no reason. Except if you reasonably suspect that anything has been stolen or unlawfully obtained, So if they want to search your phone or your laptop, ask them if they have a search warrant. If they do not have a search warrant, why do they want to search your phone or your laptop? That's something private to you. That's something personal to you. And state your rights. Let them know that you have a right and that you are aware of your rights. So yes, I know that people can be quick to say that, oh, we're in Nigeria. We know the Nigerian police force. No doubt about that. But nevertheless, we have to make sure that we stay safe. All these things are not so that you can cause any fight or cause any trouble. It is to just make sure that you are safe if at any point in time a police officer stops you and wants to search you. My last tip for you, please be very careful. Be very careful, be very cautious. Make sure you are safe. Look at the environment which you are. Sometimes you cannot ascertain the state of mind of the officer you are talking to. So you want to be sure. You want to be sure before you start mentioning your rights and your lefts. No, don't let me say that one. No. If you answer their questions, they'll let you go. They don't want to ask you anything. They don't want to search for anything. Except if they have reasons to believe that you probably are in possession of anything stolen or anything unlawfully obtained. They don't have any reason to stop and search you. The major tip, the major takeaway for you from this episode is that please be careful. Please be very, very careful. Be cautious and stay safe. As long as you state all your rights, state all that you know, but also prevent stories that touch. Someone sent me a question based on the last episode. So if you have not seen that episode, please, you can go ahead and watch it. The last episode was on marriage. The question was, a person that is married loses his spouse or loses her spouse. That means the spouse of that person is deceased. Can that person go ahead to contract another marriage? Can that person go ahead to remarry? I gave the person that answer, and I would also like to give everyone the privilege to learn that if a person is married and along the line loses his or her spouse, such a person is allowed to remarry because it is seen that that marriage with the deceased person is no longer existing. It has ended by reason of death. And so the person is allowed to remarry or contract another marriage. So if you have any questions as regards this episode, please drop your questions in the comment section below. And you can also send your questions directly to me. I'm on all social media platforms. Thank you very much for watching this episode. I hope you're able to learn something. Please like, share, subscribe, and drop your comments below. Thank you.